This is Ray Carsillo, and I'm here at day 2 of E3, and I have the distinct pleasure now of talking with a very special guest, the president of the Academy of Interactive Arts and Sciences, Joseph Olin. Joseph, how are you doing today?
Ray, I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. It's my first E3, so I'm kind of on an adrenaline high right now.
Oh, absolutely.
But, I mean, being the president of the Academy of Interactive Arts and Sciences, I guess the first thing that most people would ask is what are your duties as the president of such a large group?
Well, my job is to be able to voice their talents and give the spotlight a chance to shine on all of their efforts at a place like E3, where we have the best and brightest showing their best work for next year.
Speaking about some of the best work, we're also here, you might have noticed it's Into the Pixel. Some great artwork is on display here, so trying to show that video games can inspire all different kinds of media forms. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Into the Pixel was created to commemorate the 10th anniversary of E3, and it was a way to actually isolate the talent that creates the art within the game and is used to inspire team members to build the games out. To design a level, you have a piece like this, which sort of says, this is the tone that we need, and then you have 50, 60 people who have to build to this. So it's grown with each year, and we find that consumers love the artwork, I think, even more than the people who do the art.
Very cool. I know I was looking at them in myself, and I'm taken back by how colorful and visually stunning they are.
Not to be a shameless plug, but all of the artwork is available in medium res download at the intothepixel.com website, and we have more than 128 different pieces. It's the largest professionally curated exhibit of art from games in the world.
Very cool, very impressive. Now, of course, we are here at E3, and there's been a lot going on, all different kinds of things. But one of the big themes I seem to be getting this year is the push towards the casual gamer. Of course, connect with Xbox 360. You want to talk a little bit about how we're trying to, I guess, us hardcore gamers are having to share a little bit now more with the casual crowd?
Well, I'd like to think that, within every core gamer is really a casual gamer waiting to break out. And what usually forces that to happen is the fact that your life changes to where you no longer have that 4 hours a night so you can be online to play with your friends. You have an hour, then you have 30 minutes, or then you're traveling for 3 days, so you can't take your console with you. But you still want to be able to play. So I think that the casual game experience is really a shorter session game experience, and there's some fabulous games this year that are being shown on the other sides of the booth, above and beyond the Halo reaches and some of the things that were shown from Project Connect and certainly Sony Move, the 3D games, 3DS. I mean, it's like, I could spend the next 40 minutes just listing things as opposed to there's so many things to play. I think that's the great opportunity about being at E3. We get to play all these new games.
You mentioned, of course, 3D gaming, and the 3DS was a big show for Nintendo. Do you think 3D gaming is the future of games, or is it just another possible fad?
I don't know that it's a fad. I think that trying to create more lifelike and fun experiences, things that drag you on the other side of the screen, are going to be with us for a long time. I don't think anyone knows the exact way of doing it yet, but there's all these different paths that are worth exploring, and I think that each of the 3 major manufacturers has got a different solution to that, but everyone wants to feel the other side of the screen and to make that real. And I think Nintendo's strength has always been in personal entertainment, starting with the Game Boy many, many years ago. So the 3DS is really an extension of being able to have an interactive experience any place you want.
And we talked a little bit about the casual gamer, but there's a lot here for the hardcore gamer as well. What would you say is probably the hardcore gamer's best place to go?
I think that, there isn't Halo. I'm going to start Halo Reach. I think Epic Mickey is really a core game experience with, the ability to traverse a world with the most recognizable icon ever in Mickey Mouse and all of the Disney, canon of characters. I certainly think that the MMA game from Electronic Arts is really a lot of fun. I got my rear end handed to me about 30 minutes ago by one of my colleagues, and I was like really embarrassed, but I had a good time in the process. I think that Dark Ops from Treyarch and Activision is going to be equal to what you expect in the Modern Warfare Call of Duty universe. Gran Turismo 5, is absolutely brilliant. I think depending on what you want, there's a game for that moment. There's a game for that. And I think in today's gaming world versus 5 years ago, it means you and I get to play together. And I think that's the most important thing. We always played with our friends growing up. Now we have games that we can play with our friends almost any place, any time, which means I'm going to win, you're not.
Of course, speaking about online multiplayer and multiplayer, how important do you think it's become for the gaming industry to have most games, people ask now, does it have a multiplayer feature? Does it have 4-player co-op? Does it have, 8-man deathmatch? How important has multiplayer really become now, especially with the advent of online becoming so popular?
Well, I think just that. I think that you really have two different gaming experiences. Personally, for me as a Modern Warfare 2 player, the single player, was really my training mission, so that when I went online, I could survive playing with my own kids who are, adolescents, and they're always quicker than I am. But the single player allows you to learn, get up to speed, and I think has more of a story element as opposed to just the playground skirmish fact. But you're right, everyone expects that now, and I think that what was shown by Cliff Bleszinski in the Gears 3 demo is really about 4 players playing simultaneously in a very confined universe. It takes a lot of talent. It's really hard to do that well for a single player with all a world of AI. So now as a game designer and a team, you have to be able to balance what my weirdness is versus what your strategy is versus what anyone else's strategy, and to do it all in real time seamlessly, that's a lot of talent.
Indeed. Sticking with the online theme, a lot of things you're starting to see now is online games, complete games, 5-6 hour experiences. Do you think that a lot more developers are going to try and do this, or why are they focusing now on just a 5 or 6 hour gaming experience that's maybe $10 or $15 instead of trying to flesh it out into a 20 hour, 25 hour, $60 experience?
Well, I think that, for a $60 game experience at retail, traditionally, the core game audience wants a long, deep experience. And I think that, again, back to being income rich and time poor in general, you don't have that much time. So you're looking to have a full experience, but in a smaller bite. And I think that there's 2 things that happen out of the downloadable space. One is by having a smaller amount of time to build to, you spend less money. And if it's traction and you get good audience feedback, it's easy to come back and take all that feedback and build an experience that's based on the feedback of someone who liked what you did. And that's just a good iterative process. And I think that's one of the hallmarks of great game design and game making is you listen, you learn, you see if they can break it, you take all that feedback in, and you make it better.
Very cool. You mentioned before Epic Mickey, and we were at the Disney booth the other day, yesterday, and we saw the Tron game, and you're seeing that a lot now, where there's a lot of games and movies, and one inspired by the other, and even comic books, and how everything's kind of going hand in hand. Talk about how important it is that that games can support a movie, or a movie can inspire a game, and sometimes they do it. One does subpar justice to the other.
Well, I think that you go back to the beginnings of games as a form of entertainment, and they've always drawn from film and from literature to try and find inspiration. Whether books that you read, created Sid Meier's Pirates, it was from the stories and things as in his childhood. So it's not to be surprised that we would inspire something like the series of Resident Evil movies, or that last year's Arkham Asylum from Eidos, took the tone from Christopher Nolan's film to new levels in terms of what you get to experience as a player. So I think today, in looking at the canon of Disney, film library, their icons, Tron was the story of a game, and a game designer, when the Tron arcade, that was the ultimate. It wasn't the light cycles, it was really the Tron arcade machine that everyone really wanted to be able to do. And the new Tron game is pretty fabulous. And whether it's as good as the movie, we'll find out. I think the one thing we really didn't talk about was ESPN and being,
I forgot about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, for as a gamer, as someone who loves to play games, I think of ESPN as, it's where I go for all my sports fix, and it's great to see, all the World Cup and everything else there. I can always find my finals action, and you look at sports games today, and a lot of what we get to see on television, I think today, in terms of the windows, the information, everything that comes up in real time, is because of the men and women who have built, the Maddens, the FIFAs, things like that. And it's interesting to see how that line is blurred between what we would used to experience as the dedicated sports experience on television is really almost the same, if not better, on the game experience. If we could just get my game of Madden up on ESPN,
there we go.
Then I'd be a happy guy.
Yes. So I'm guessing you're all for ESPN.com now being part of Xbox 360.
Absolutely. I think it's great. I think for those of us who are high on sports all the time, it's great to have that outlet. And I think being able to call up the assets is interesting. And I think, again, it's that blending of action, passive entertainment that, you know, makes the experience that much better. And I think those are the things that, you know, make the interactive entertainment experience so much more compelling today, and why there's so many more people playing games all the time.
Joseph, very cool. Thank you for your time.
Ray, it's a